Hello and welcome. This is James from Pocket Gamer and Alysia from Pocket Gamer Biz. We are live from E3 as far as a video can be live. Alysia, you just walked out of the Sony press conference.
Literally, my heart is still going. I had to pick my jaw up off the floor and then pick up my laptop bag and stumble out the door. It was absolutely incredible. I mean, at one point there was a little contingent, just like the whole front end of this massive stadium where Sony were doing the press conference was just up on their feet like it was some sort of rave. Just like the energy was amazing. There were so many announcements.
This is the face of bitterness, because I went to the E3 press conference, which was fine, but it wasn't quite. Yeah, so I've just been following the whole thing on Twitter, going, "Oh my!" And no one was around me to high five. It was really horrible.
Literally, poor James, he was sat in a coffee shop, just having to be high fiving cappuccino drinkers who didn't know what PlayStation was.
And I was asked to leave, but. So we're obviously getting excited about the Sony thing. A lot of it isn't mobile technically, but things like Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Final Fantasy VII, The Last Guardian is coming out. I've been waiting for that for ages. With Shenmue 3 has finally been announced, which is just crazy. We saw No Man's Sky, Call of Duty Black Ops 3 was announced.
Which was weirdly the low point.
So which was the low point. Everyone kind of went, we kind of knew. There was Uncharted 4. What else? It was just, it basically got to a point where so many games had been announced, it was just, you kind of were like back in your seat going, like, what on earth can they pull out the hat next?
Right, we've revelled in
the games. Yeah.
What about mobile things? So they did announce some stuff, didn't they?
They announced some pretty cool stuff in terms of virtual reality. With their Project Morpheus, it's going to be local 4-player multiplayer, which is really cool.
For me, local multiplayer is about being with other people, but you're going to be with other people with the thing on, unable to see them,
that's what I find really interesting, because everyone's turned around and said that virtual reality, it's the most kind of immersive, this is my own little world, I'm going to put on my goggles and no one's going to be around me. That's what everyone said about virtual reality, and PlayStation are trying to subvert that and saying, no, you can play with your friends. And I don't know whether this will mean that, say if you're like sat on your sofa all together and then you're like punching something, you're just going to punch your friend in the head, which could be a bit awkward. But it's an interesting. You
just have to kind of like grope out and occasionally realise that someone else is there. You go, I do have friends. Exactly. This is really happening. This is amazing.
Because everyone could go, oh yeah, let's play a virtual reality game together. Won't that be great? Everyone sits down and they just like, you put on your goggles and they leave the room slowly. Well, that's what we do to you, James. But
I like the way this is going. Leave me out of the E3 Sony conference and now this. Anything else mobile based that they actually revealed in Sony?
Sony, apart from the virtual reality stuff, but that is, we cover a lot of virtual reality on Pocket Gamer. That's one of our key.
We have a full VR section. Do go over and check it out, as well as the Samsung VR stuff. We cover the Morpheus and the Oculus and all that. Check it out.
Exactly.
Well, I went to the E3 one. There was some mobile news on it, albeit quite small. So NFL Live 16, not NFL, NBA. They're all sports are the same to me. The basketball one, that's coming out, and the way that you get your facial features into the game now is via a mobile app. So you get a mobile app, you hold it up, it scans your face, you do a side turn, and then bap, it goes into the game. The app's going to go live just before the game itself does, so that's a thing that's mobile related. They also brought out some more stuff from Minions Paradise, which is that Despicable Me offshoot game, which is kind of, not Clash of Clansy, but it's sort of a resource management strategy thing, which is cutesy and fun and quite high budget. They put a lot of character into it. We have already been hands-on with the game because it was soft launch somewhere, or we got a test flight build. Either way.
Because we have our spies.
Exactly. Go and check out the video that's up on AppSpy right now, because we got there ages before they did. This is too slow, E3, too slow. They also announced a CCG RPG of Star Wars. They were like, and genuinely at the press conference, the E3 people were like, this is the one you've been waiting for.
And there was a tumbleweed.
Yeah, there was crickets. And you're like, guys, everyone likes Star Wars and stuff, but it's not what we want.
Oh dear.
But it's happening, and there's very little you or I can do about it. Those are the things we've seen. It's only been the first day. I've been here for like less than 24 hours.
There was also the Bethesda conference, which was very interesting. So on Sunday, Bethesda got in there early and decided that they were going to have their press conference when everyone was landing. And poor James was stuck in the sky, having been delayed. But basically, they've announced Fallout, a new Fallout game for mobile, which is pretty cool, called Fallout Shelter. It's actually available now. They said that it was launching at the end of the show on the app stores. And it's kind of like a resource management game. So you're in charge of a nuclear fallout shelter, and everyone inside it is kind of under your control, a bit like The Sims in the end of the world. And you have everyone who's inside the fallout shelter can go out into the world. You can send them on missions, and in that kind of very addictive stat-based leveling way, make them better, specialize them in different areas, and then you kind of control the food supplies, the energies, all that kind of system. So it's got the potential to be an incredibly addictive game. I mean, that's the kind of game that I will just spend hours in.
It sounds like the kind of thing Peter would play a lot of. Not so much me, but Peter's really, really down with that stuff. And it does tie into the Fallout universe, because Fallout 3, you spend the beginning in the bunker, growing up before you step out into the world. So actually going back inside it and exploring it sounds kind of cool. I think we've already actually reviewed it. Harry's been playing it for a while now. So if you head over to Pocket Gamer, you can see the review of the game, or download it yourself if you want to get to grips with it. There's stuff coming though. We've only just started. I've only been here for like 20 seconds, and tomorrow we're actually out on the show floor.
Yeah, we are.
For the next 2 days at least. So we will continue to bring you more stuff as we find it, mobile related, and anything else we want to geek out over. Final Fantasy VII Remake, you know.
Final Fantasy VII Remake. There is also, I've heard whispers of the original Ghostbusters car being on the show floor.
Yeah, I would love to brush that off and say I don't care, but that's cool. I'll probably see it.
You're going to be licking it in the corner. I'm going to turn around. And you're going to...
Save that for the off-camera stuff. All right, well, thank you for watching. We will be back with another one of these tomorrow, and probably the day after as well. Get hype.
Woohoo!